Welcome to Transformers, the podcast about how business people and policymakers are creating a sustainable future. I'm your host, Kai Embren. Leaving no one behind, Neighbourhood Economics is a story of how an organization united 35,000 people living in the suburb of Stockholm, Sweden. My guest today is Johan Rådmark, a local and internationally recognized and awarded community leader in the neighborhood Bo. And at the heart of this neighborhood is Bo Folkets Hus, literally Bo People's House, a non-profit that provides meaningful opportunities for people of all ages and backgrounds to meet, interact and collaborate and learn skills. Johan leads and coordinates Bo Folkets Hus. With a budget of $1.5 million, 34 employees and volunteers, the organization reached a majority of Bo's 35,000 residents. This year, Bo Folkets Hus celebrating its 40th anniversary. Listen how they managed to create such a high engagement rate and success. You can also read my interview with Bosse Ståldal, the co-founder and key player in Bo Folkets Hus history, in a separate blog post at kaiembren.org. Welcome, Johan.
Thank you very much, Kai.
Johan, we met the last time in San Francisco at the Impact Hub, when you had the opportunity to inspire an international group of people connected to the Social Capital Markets Conference, SOCAP. How was the response and what was the takeaway from the discussion?
It's a totally different culture in the US than in Sweden. In San Francisco at the SOCAP conference, I found a common interest between people with capital and people with social and cultural ideas. And that is something that I can't see in Sweden, unfortunately.
Was it any particular issue?
I reacted quite strong on the fact that I met very rich people, for example, a group of ladies that was so interested to invest their capital in different social ideas in the society. They really saw themselves that important role players in the development, for example, against young people's problems with drugs, other social problems and so on. And they really wanted to play a role in that field, and that impressed on me.
And that is not what you see when you're going back to Sweden and the organization you're working for now.
Maybe in a very small scale. For example, locally here in Bo, I have cooperations with some small business people. It's not a question about big money. It's more a question of sponsoring with free food or free cakes to our coffee. It's not much money involved in it, and money is what we need in our work. I think amongst business people, they have a ground attitude that this kind of questions is a responsibility for the municipality to handle, not the companies. Those companies who are engaged, companies with parents, a company with a company leader that has experience of having own children in our leisure club, for example, in Bo Folkets Hus, and they can see what we are able to do and how we can change the premises for young people on their life travel.
This year, the Bo Folkets Hus celebrate its 40 years anniversary. It's full of success stories, but also challenges that are in people's mind in the neighborhood. Can you give our listeners some of the most important highlights under these 40 years of history?
There's lots of highlights to choose between, so it's hard to make a selection. In 1985, we had an inauguration of the People's House, Folkets Hus, at the youth club here in the neighborhood. Young people is our future, and in the late 80s we made a strategic decision to prioritize cooperation with schools in the neighborhood, and we're doing that since then. We have lots of different kinds of cooperations with the schools in the neighborhood in all ages. In 1988, we started a local campaign about Bo Better, and that's a little word joke, you can say. Bo is the name of our neighborhood, but Bo also means live, to live. So live better, Bo Better. Was a campaign against graffiti, and well, we saw at that time that the neighborhood looked dirty, lots of ugly graffiti, not nice graffiti, ugly. I think that spread a negative amongst citizens in our neighborhood. So we decided to start something to make Bo better, a better place to live. And this campaign made a quite big impact, and lots of citizens in the neighborhood was engaged in this project. And I think that also showed for the politicians in the municipality that we really had an impact in the local society. We have the power to make changes and influence people who lived here in our neighborhood in a positive way.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how to meet this type of challenges?
So I then started one of Sweden's first youth clubs or leisure clubs for young adults. And the local police, they measured the level on criminality, and after 1.5 years, they came with some flowers to me and said, Johan, your initiative has lowered the criminality with 30%. This year we have seen something that I think is very tragical. That is that we have criminal teenagers in gangs. They are holding the local drug market, and they recruit children from middle school year. They are about 10, 11, 12 years old, and these young kids are used as transporting drugs. They are transporting weapons for the teenagers. They are placed up on a bridge to look out on the parking lot to see if there is any civilian police cars coming in. They learn the number on the plates, and they can then send an SMS to these criminal teenagers to warn them something's going on here. And for 2 years ago, they started to listen to me, so they gave me some money so I could start a youth club, a kids club, a leisure club for these young kids. So we have a very good cooperation with the local schools here, and together with the teachers, we could see who are in highest risk amongst these young kids to be recruited to these criminal teenager gangs. So we try to be the step before the criminal gangs and recruit these kids to our club activities, where they can meet other teenage young people with good attitudes and so on, and have them as role models instead of the criminal gangs.
If you go to the more positive thing of activities that you are promoting within your organization, looking into culture and dance and music. What has been the building stones for Bo Folkets Hus when we come to these areas to recruit young people into a better society?
Then I have to start to tell about our leisure club that our organization started by its own. And after some years, the municipality decided to fund this leisure club for teenagers. And since 15 years now, we have a yearly grant from the municipality, quite a lot of money to run this leisure club for youth people. We also started a cultural club for young people. We call it Nacka Dance and Theater, which we have courses for young people from 6 years old up to 19 years old in different dance styles, theater, art and form, and so on. And that's very popular. And we have also exported these activities to other parts of the municipality of Nacka, which is geographically far away from Bo, the neighborhood that we work in mostly.
The European Union?
Oh yeah, we have developed that during the latest years. We are quite active in the Erasmus Plus project. So we had teenagers from our leisure club last summer. They visited a little town outside Venezia in Italy, and where they met Italian young people, Spanish young people, and had a week of discussions about the UN global goals. And it was so nice to see them come back to Sweden full of inspiration and new ideas to develop here in the local neighborhood. In a few weeks, we are being visited. We have visitors from Lyon in France. 10 teenagers coming here to meet our young people here in Bo Folkets Hus. That should be very nice. So I think international aspects so important, especially for young people. I have always been very impressed by young people's possibilities to look on their lives from an entrepreneurial aspect, if you understand me right. Young people are full of ideas. They are full of dreams. And the role of an organization like ours is to be some kind of possibility makers. We shall have the resources to help young people to try and realize their dreams and ideas for a better life, for a better society, for a better something. When we had worked with the young people in this way for some years, we started a foundation which we call Av egen kraft in Swedish, by own capacity, which has been working during several years now, only with the question, how can we in the best way promote and stimulate young people's entrepreneurial skills? How can you as a young person be the entrepreneur in your own life? That gives hope for the future. That gives a self picture that is positive. That gives personal experiences among young people that it is possible to fulfill an idea or a dream if you do it together with others, if you do it in cooperation with some people with resources like our organization, Bo Folkets Hus. We have room, we have music studios, we have a cafe, we have a leisure club for young people, we have the cultural school, and so on. So we have lots of resources that we can use to help these young people to fulfill their dreams and ideas. And that's one of the most nicest parts of my job. have Sweden's oldest rock association that still are alive and very active. It's called Rock Association Ormens, a snake rock. And many of them are old men nowadays, in the 60s and even some in the 70s. But they also recruit young people, young band to their organization. And then we have the studios for them to rehearse in and so on. And that's for free for them, of course, because they don't have any money to pay for this.
I heard some figures that you had 5 rock bands in 1,000 inhabitants in the neighborhood.
At least.
Yeah.
In just before Christmas, our youth club had a live concert where they invited all the leisure clubs in the municipality of Nacka, and that there was on stage was 5 different young bands performing all the night, and I was so impressed. No drugs, no alcohol, just lots of kids having so fun with music, dancing, and it was so popular that they decided immediately to make it again just 3 weeks later.
And you also have Sweden's Bruce Springsteen here in Folkets Hus.
Well, yes, that was some years ago, but
stars like that is sometimes important for young people.
As a role model, absolutely. He's very famous.
Who was it?
Ulf Lundell. He has during the years he has and the history of Bo Folkets Hus. He had helped Bo Folkets Hus with the funding through concerts, who had gathered thousands of people, and the Bo Folkets Hus arranged these concerts on different places. And most part of the income was invested in Bo Folkets Hus development, and that was a great gift of him to do this.
If you look at the culture issues and you go down in the ages, carnivals.
That's an important part of Bo Folkets Hus history, because the Orminge Carnival, the Snake City Carnival, is 3 years older than Bo Folkets Hus organization. And the carnival was started by some enthusiasts with roots in the Caribbean. And they started a carnival, and it was a huge success from the beginning. And since then, we had arranged this carnival from Bo Folkets Hus side every year, except from the 2 years of the pandemic now. So we just had the carnival with about something between 7,000 and 10,000 visitors. Lots of bands, lots of Tivoli, lots of market, food trucks. It's a people's party for families. It's so popular. That's a good tradition. Yeah. It keeps people together here in our neighborhood.
But maybe some of the biggest challenge has been a problem with fires.
The first occasion was in 2008. A guy was a drug addicted. He broke in Folkets Hus and looked for people to steal that he could sell and to have money to buy drugs. But he didn't find anything, so he was angry and put the house on fire. Neighbors saw this quite early, so it was possible for the fire department to fight the fire quite quickly. So the damages was that 1/3 of the house was burnt down, and it took a little bit less than 1 year to build it up again. But the more tragic story is that just a little bit more than 2.5 years ago, in 15th of October 2020, some people put the house on fire. They broke windows, so we have burglar alarm, and just 2-3 minutes after the burglar alarm, we have fire alarm on very many sections at once that pointed out that somebody have poured out gasoline or something like that. So when I get the emergency call at 4 o'clock in the morning, I went straight up. I just live 500 meters from Folkets Hus, so I was here in a few minutes, and I met one of my staff members, and we could just look at it, and we couldn't do nothing. The fire brigade wasn't able to find any water fight the fire with. It took them over 50 minutes to find a water place. So the house was totally burnt down. And one of the first persons who called me was the priest. Yeah, the priest. We are neighbor with the Swedish church. He called me and said, "Johan, I've heard about the disaster on radio. I'm here. I have opened the doors for you. Welcome to the church's house." And that was important for us, so I could gather all the staff and the board of our organization. And we started to make plans because we saw directly that the house was burnt down to the ground. We started immediately to look for alternative locals, and we succeeded quite fast. So in 1 week we had the alternative local for room for the youth club, and the 23rd of December, day before Christmas, I signed a contract for 1,800 square meters in a house quite nearby here. And we started during the Christmas leave. We gathered all people we know. So we were about 25-30 people who worked all the Christmas and New Year to restore and rebuild that room, that local that we had found. So we built 40 meters of walls. We painted everything. We put up textiles and so on. And the 15th of January 2023, we could start all our activities in the new rooms and the new local. Parallel with this, we started the process to build up the Bo Folkets Hus again. So the process started with architecture planners and all that in 2021, and we have all the drawings. Young people in all ages was very involved in the planning of the new house, and they had an impact on the solutions, which I am very glad for today, because it has been very good to build up the house, people's house, as quick as possible. And now we are there. So we inaugurated in November 2022. But that was so much love from the neighborhood, from all the people. And I really understood how much people depends on us, and what a big role we play in the local neighborhood here. Cuando la seducción
We have talked a lot about young people, and do you also have a lot of seniors in the house?
Oh yeah, we have had that from the beginning during these 40 years. It started with dance occasions, not every Friday, but every second Friday. And we had the same leader for that during 40 years. It was Greta. He's now 96 years old. So she's not the leader of it anymore, but she is still coming on every second Friday. We saw for about 8 years ago, we realized it was an increasing amount of especially elder women. Their husband has gone, is dead. Many of the social life was about the husband, and nowadays they are very lonely, and they are from a generation who thinks that I shall not be to any harm or something like that to anybody. I shall not disturb my children, my grandchildren, and so on. And the result of that is that we have a lot of elder people, and especially women, who are suffering from psychological unhealth. And that's very bad. So we took a chat with the pensionist organizations we have locally here in Bo, and we saw the same needs, and we made an idea for how to start a new social meeting place every weekday from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. during the whole year. A new kind of meeting place for elderly people. Very much bottom up, not top down. We don't create activities from Bo Folkets Hus side. It's the elderly themselves that come with all the ideas for what they should do here in our house. And that has resulted in today we have 25 different activities. All it's from card playing, it's dancing in different styles, it's study groups who talk about the history of Stockholm, the history of our municipality Nacka. It's art craft. They are painting, weaving. We have a picture club, photo club. It's lots of different activities, and I'm so happy every day. I go to my work and I see at 10 o'clock all the elderly people come into the house and starting their activities. And so we have about between 350 to 400 local elderly visitors per week in the house. So we have a mix of generations here all the time, every day. And this is resulting in that the elder people and the younger people, they know each other by name. They say hello Greta, hello Bertil, when they meet here in the neighborhood. And I think this is so important for the feeling of security in the neighborhood, that people are not afraid for anything. That's important.
Neighborhood economics is a term that has been used on the international stage. How do you finance all your activities? Support from the municipality, private finance, individual, consultancy? How is the budget?
It's a mix. I have a year budget now, 2023. It's about 16, 17 million crowns, and that's about 1/10 in dollars, a little bit less. And I used to say that I don't want to have grants, because if you are the taker of grants, you are in a lower position than the giver of grants. you are in a special situation, that when you are not free to say what you want and do what you want and so on. So I have focused on to try to organize the financing by municipality consultancy. I always look for contract-based finance. So if I take the example of our activities for the elder people, I have made a contract with the politicians in the municipality with work, especially with the elder people situation. I have a contract with them where we stipulate what shall we deliver to the municipality and how much does that cost for the municipality. So about 80% of our budget today is based on this kind of contract-based finance, and that gives me freedom, and we can make decisions by ourselves in a bigger way than if we were just grant takers. We also have tried to develop cooperation with the companies in the neighborhood. We have a history of agreements with, for example, Toyota here. We have different small companies in the neighborhood that helps us with different kinds of funding. Not big money, just small amounts. As I said earlier, when I compared to my experiences from the SOCAP conference in San Francisco some years ago, we don't really have the culture here in Sweden that companies should be funding social and cultural work amongst young people or so. Culture is that this is a responsibility for the municipality and for the state. So I think there is a lot to develop in this area.
You named the politicians in your earlier answer, and
Yeah.
how is it with the political support of an organization like Bofolkets?
I think we have a big support from the politicians from all sides, from the conservatives to the left, because we are very entrepreneurial in our ways of thinking and doing, and all the politicians see what we are able to do. For example, when I talked about the Snake City Carnival, it's the biggest cultural event in the municipality of Nacka, and it's arranged by our organization Bofolkets Hus, not the municipality. So they see what we can do, and it gives them respect for us, and I'm happy for that. But I think I have good relation. Me and my organization, we have good relations with the politicians in the municipality.
Har ingenting att bjuda på, men om du vill komma över, för popcornen är livet, jag är likadan. Om det är vad du behöver, då kan vi låtsas som att...
Which role play the leadership in your organization?
My philosophy is to work in a flat organization. I think it's to have all the staff members very involved in all planning processes. Well, everything we do, it's the involvement of the staff should be very, very well organized, so it doesn't take too much time. It should be in a very structural way. It should be very, very clear for every body in the staff organization. We have about 35 in the staff. They should know exactly when is it time to discuss things, when it's time for decisions, and so on. But I always ask the staff about their opinion in among different alternatives to go. And I think this is very important because it builds a culture in the organization. It's called it's a little bit like one for all for one, and it creates a very, very high level of engagement. So I think all my staff members, they are not thinking of their job as a 9 to 5 work. You work when you need to work, and but we are very. It's for us. It's very important to have very good agreements with the unions and so on about the level on the salary. It's about working time. It's about vacation time and so on, and that's very important because my best staff members are those who are happy when they come to the work. They come here every morning with ideas and engagement, and they could understand that every one of us is doing something important in a bigger machine that could deliver to the neighborhood and the local society.
What is the most important driver for an organization like Bo Folkets Hus to succeed in the next 40 years of development, Johan?
Well, that's not easy to answer, but I think it's the you have to be very grounded in the neighborhood. You have to work it intensely to have a deep relation with many people in the neighborhood. We always try to involve so many people as possible in our different activities, and that is for all ages, all from the kids up to the Greta, 96 years. Everybody should have the possibility to have a role in our organization and in our work. Everybody should have the pleasure of feeling that you are one amongst many and that we can do incredible good things together. I think that's the recipe for holding out and build an even better and stronger organization during the next 40 years.
Well, Johan, it was great to talk to you, and hope that our listener will come back to you also to get the inspiration from the work you and your team here in Bo Folkets Hus is doing.
Thanks for having me.
Kan vi låtsas som att inget har hänt? Att vi kan låtsas som vi inte känner varann. Vi kan låtsas som att allt var en dröm.
I'm Kai Embren. Follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn, where I will be announcing the future guests to this podcast. And you can expect about 2 programs a month, and each guest has a unique story of making business and society sustainable. So find out more, visit my homepage, kaiembren.org. Thank you for listening.